Hey everyone, welcome to Mr. U's Reviews. Today I'm reviewing Top Gun Maverick, which follows Pete Mitchell, aka Maverick, once again played by Tom Cruise, who is ordered to go back to Top Gun to instruct a group of aviators. First of all, let's talk about the cast of this film. And of course, you have this new group of aviators, and all of the actors that play them they did an awesome job here because they have all these different personalities, and in just one film you kind of come to learn a little something about each one of them. You know, their personalities are developed quite well, and you have other actors that weren't in the first film, but actors that we've seen in many other films in the past, like Jennifer Connelly, John Hamm, and Ed Harris, and they all did well also. But really the two standouts here were Tom Cruise and Miles Teller, because there's a certain conflict between these two characters that really becomes the core of this film. And their relationship in this film, you could say, is kind of like a major arc here. It's a major plot point that develops as the film goes on. And by the end, seeing how it all comes together, it was really satisfying. So I really liked seeing that, and both of these actors did an awesome job in my opinion. They were great. Of course, Tom Cruise always commits to his roles, especially these days in action movies like the Mission Impossible movies. He does all these crazy stunts and everything. So it's great to see him again. But really, all these actors, and especially the aviators, were great here. And even if you look behind the scenes, you find out that a lot of these actors did lots of training for this role, for their roles here for this movie, and you really feel that on screen as you watch the film, because it really does feel so real and immersive as a result. So all of the actors here, their hard work really paid off, in my opinion. Now let's talk about all the different technical aspects of this film. Like for example, the directing by Joseph Kosinski, which must have been a major task for him, because this film just feels just so grand, so epic. Of course, with the new technology these days and everything, they're gonna try to make a film that feels grander than the first one, which was made like over 30 years ago. And that's what was really achieved here so well. This is a film to see on the biggest screen you can, with the loudest speakers. It's very immersive, and that all has to really do with Kosinski's directing here. And also there are some great shots here, which adds a lot to the cinematography. I just had to mention, because every once in a while, just these shots that, whether they just stay at the same position or whether they're moving with all the different fighter planes and everything, all the fighter jets. It's just a beautiful film to watch visually. And I don't know how much of this film was really the actors and how much of it was stunts, because of course the actors train for these roles, but there's some crazy things going on, some cool scenes, the way that the jets move and everything, and the way the camera just follows them. I'm not sure how much was really the actors and how much was like a stunt team, but if there were a bunch of stunts, which I'm sure there were, props to them, because just so many cool different stunts done in the fighter jets and the planes and everything. Just so cool to watch. And of course, I can't forget to talk about the music in this film. Of course, the score is featured in this film, that was featured in the first original film, and it's just so cool to hear that on the big screen with the loudspeakers. And there's some songs from the first film that are added here, which was a great callback. It has the 80s feel at times, but even some new songs, which I really enjoyed seeing implemented in the film. So not only were there lots of callbacks to the first film through music and all these other aspects, But there was also a sense that this is kind of a little bit like the present, contemporary, modern version of what the first film was. Although it is still a sequel, it's a continuation. So I just really enjoyed all these technical aspects. It really added a lot to this film and its immersive feel. Now let's talk about the story of this film, because as I say again, there are certain conflicts, certain relationships between characters that become the core of this story. And that was such a great aspect here because, although this is like an action film kind of, with fighter jets and pilots and everything like that, there's great drama embedded into the film, which I really enjoyed seeing. I enjoyed the first two acts of this film, though I have to say, sometimes it follows the structure of the first one a little bit too closely. It's not a remake by any means, and it's not a major negative of this film, but it kind of did follow like certain structural points, like, oh, after this scene they're gonna do this, and they're probably gonna have another training sequence. You know what I mean? It was kind of similar in that sense, but I still enjoyed the first two acts. But it's the third act where the film gets so exhilarating, it's so exciting, and most importantly, it really does kind of hit you in the feels. Now, personally, I'm not someone who really grew up with the first Top Gun, but even for me, having watched the first one recently, I felt those emotions that the film was trying to make the audience feel. And I can't imagine how someone who grew up with the first Top Gun wouldn't be just so emotionally attached to just this film and the way that it concludes. All the throwbacks to the first film and all the payoffs that was just connected from the first film to here. It's everything you want from a summer blockbuster. It got the action right, action scenes right. It got the more kind of touching emotional scenes right. It was a perfect mixture of everything. And I really enjoyed this film. As I say again, this is just like the best summer blockbuster you could watch right now in theaters. Watch it on the biggest screen you can. So I give Top Gun Maverick an A-. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, don't forget your popcorn. Until next time, from Mr. U to you, stay tuned.